Sarah Palin, yes, that's Sarah Palin, is suing the New York Times, and the case is going to trial. Now, this alone is significant because, by and large, when you have these kinds of lawsuits against a media outlet, particularly a large, powerful media outlet like the New York Times, they normally don't go anywhere. Ever since the case of New York Times versus Sullivan, a case that is now, 40 years old, it's essentially been almost impossible to prove libel. Why? Because to prove libel, you have to prove what's called actual malice. And actual malice is defined as, I knew it was false, and I still said it. And second, if I didn't know it was false, I acted with, quote, reckless disregard of the truth. I didn't care if it was true or false. I still published it. And C, on top of that, you have to show actual damages. You have to show that there was harm to your reputation and that this cost you. So this standard has been almost impossible to meet because even if a media outlet says something that's flatly untrue, they could say, well, listen, we didn't know it was untrue. Or even though we suspected it might be untrue, we didn't act with reckless disregard. We did try to find out the truth, even though, in fact, we were unsuccessful in doing so. So this provides a kind of almost libel-free environment for the press. But the atmosphere is clearly changing, and this notion that you can libel people with impunity looks like it's going to be a thing of the past. Now, let's talk about the Sarah Palin case. The New York Times basically publishes something that is downright scurrilous. A 2017 editorial took a political map that the Sarah Palin PAC had put out and said, look at this political map, and they superimposed it on a shooting in which 6 people were killed, including Representative Gabrielle Giffords was badly wounded. So basically what the New York Times was, I wouldn't say implying, was flatly saying is that somehow Sarah Palin was providing the roadmap to get these people killed. Now, in reality, Sarah Palin's kind of political map had nothing to do with the shooting. And the New York Times eventually admitted this, and they wrote a correction, and they retracted the article. But Sarah Palin's like, I don't care. You can retract the article, but you still put it out. Lots of people saw the article who may not have seen the retraction. The article was far more prominent than the retraction. You harmed me. What you said is flatly untrue. Now, the New York Times is like, this was an accident. And I want to make the point that with the press, these accidents are not accidents. They're not accidents because the ball always falls on the same side of the net. If they were truly accidents, you're in relentless pursuit of the truth, all the news that fit to print, that's the New York Times' motto, then you'd get things wrong. You'd frequently be accidentally saying bad things about Democrats. You'd accidentally be saying nice things about Republicans. But you notice that's never the case. They do their best. They were trying very clearly here to pin the mass shooting tail on Sarah Palin, blame her for it. And they failed to do it. And they were caught. And so their apology, if you will, was not an apology of we're sorry we did it. It was really an apology, we're sorry you busted us, and we're now regret being sued. So, look, it's going to be difficult, I think. This is a case that's being heard in New York, and it's being heard before a liberal judge, and I would be shocked if Sarah Palin would win the case. But I don't think actually that's what this case is about. I think part of the cleverness of Sarah Palin here is she's using the case to ferret out all kinds of information about the New York Times. Now, the scoundrel who published this 2017 article is James Bennett, the former editorial editor of the New York Times. James Bennett was caught in a kind of scandal at the Times. He had published an op-ed, this is much later, by Senator Tom Cotton. And literally publishing that op-ed caused a kind of woke uprising at the time. How dare you publish an op-ed by a Republican? And in effect, Bennett was pushed out of the Times because of that. So I think what Sarah Palin realizes is that there's a lot of discontent, there's a lot of internal bickering, there's a lot of knives being drawn within the Times, and it would be kind of good to bring all of this out into the public to show what? To show that these are not real journalists. These aren't people who are after the truth. These are ideological saboteurs. And basically, Bennett was trying to sabotage Palin. And then ultimately he got sabotaged himself. Other people crazier than him working at the Times decided to use the same long knives that he was using on Palin on him. So it would actually be very entertaining, to be honest, to have all of this come into the public square. I personally would love to see it. And I hope that the trial, through its discovery process, furnishes an opportunity, if not to provide full justice to Sarah Palin, nevertheless to show us this sausage-making machine, these hatchet men at the New York Times, and hatchet women, if you will, or hatchet trans, the whole menagerie. We have the circus operating behind closed doors. Let's see the circus play out in the public arena.